Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you, Gary.
All right. Have we got a quorum?
We have a quorum, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you very much. We'll call the CAMPO TAC meeting of September 26th. First action item, summary, Chad.
If you can go to the next slide, please, Joyce. Yeah. So on the meeting summary for the last TAC meeting, I did want to note that we have made one update to the original summary that was sent out, which is to correct an item under the model update. In the meeting, we had said that a fiscally constrained 2050 project list would be run on the 2050 demographics. Obviously, a 2050 constrained list will not exist until after the development of the next 2050 RTP. So in the development of this model, the TDM constrained 2045 project list will be used instead. So we had a couple of questions on that and just wanted to highlight that one change made to the meeting summary. And with that, we'd request approval of the August 22nd meeting summary.
All right, Chad, thanks for that clarification. Do I have a motion to approve?
Bob Day moves to approve.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion passes unanimously. All right. Item number 3, discussion and recommendation on the 10-year transportation plan. Mr. Collin.
All right, thank you. So this is Ryan Collins at CAMPO, the Short Range Planning Manager, and just bringing back the item from the last TAC meeting for the 10-year transportation plan. On this slide is just a reminder of what this is. It's really a state requirement that we're putting together to really support the regional projects that are selected for inclusion in the Unified Transportation Program. And these are the individual listings for categories 2, 4, and 12. They're selected by TxDOT in collaboration with us, and they reflect regional priorities as well. So we've got our 10-year plan developed. You didn't have the draft last time. We didn't get any comments last time, but our intent really with the 10-year plan, again, is just to support the development of the UTP, which we work with the district on throughout the year. So, and we're going to update it annually, kind of on this schedule. So this was the first time you've seen it, but we'll be bringing this back every year in perpetuity in conjunction with that UTP update that happens every year. So this year is going to cover fiscal years 2023 through 2033. So if you've had a chance, hopefully, to look through it. Joyce, if you can go to the next slide. And really, this slide, I just want to kind of point out where this fits into the larger picture of what we do as an MPO. We've obviously got our long-range plan that supports federal funding eligibility and NEPA clearance and looks over 20 years. The 10-year plan and the UTP both together look over a 10-year period. This will be updated annually. These are both state requirements, and then the other federal requirement is our Transportation Improvement Program. So it's really kind of a simple, straightforward document, but if you have any questions or comments about what's in it, please feel free to provide that feedback. But really what this is going to do is just kind of bolster that and formalize that relationship we have with TxDOT in regards to the UTP. So that's where it's going to fit into this planning function. It doesn't fund any projects. Again, that's the Transportation Improvement Program that authorizes funding. But it will really just kind of support that planning process as those projects get closer to being funded and going into implementation. But you will see that the TIP projects in the first 4 years of the UTP and the 10-year plan will all kind of coincide together. So with that, I'm just asking for a recommendation. Again, this is a document that we think is pretty straightforward, but if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. And I would request that y'all recommend this to the policy board for adoption. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Have we got any questions or comments on this item before we take action? Tom Godala, looks like you have your hand raised.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. 2 questions. Is there a process to apply to have a project added to this 10-year plan if a jurisdiction was interested? Or
no, there's no process other than like the different sources, categories 2, 4, and 12. They have their separate kind of processes. So if you get selected for funding for any of those sources, that's kind of the process. But there's not like a specific process. like we did for the RTP, where you fill out like a spreadsheet and provide a bunch of information, then you get into the RTP. We didn't do that this go around. It's really just reflecting that UTP process.
Okay, and I have a second question. There's a project listed on page 18. It's a Travis County project for SH 71. It says interchange at 183, project description. Just out of curiosity, what is there more to that project? Does anybody know what the details are of that interchange?
I think it's related to the furnitures, but I'll let TechDOT answer that question. But I do, since you're bringing up the descriptions in the 10-year plan, I do want to point out that if it's a very simple description like the one that's in the SH71 project, those are straight from the UTP, directly verbatim. But if it's a more detailed project description, if we had it available, we used it. For instance, anything that's in the TIP document, like the 35 projects, you'll see have a much more detailed project description. So we did reflect that. So as these project descriptions get updated, we will update the 10-year plan. But as far as more information on that particular project, I don't have any right now. I would refer to TechDOT if they're on the line.
The eastbound frontage road and the flyovers to get from
Okay, so
the airport.
direct connects instead of the looping connection. It'd be more of a direct. Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
South to east.
South to
you,
east.
Heather.
Okay. Towards the airport. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather. Ed Collins?
Thank you.
Ed, I believe you've got your hand raised.
Can you hear me?
Sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute. A similar comment to Tom's is that, you know, I think having some good information in there that TxDOT already has a layman's definition. You might want to take a look at that. I appreciate the clarity that was done on the I-35 projects, but there is other terms that are used by TxDOT. I found it on the statewide plan. Just went through the projects there. There's another the statewide planning map application. You can find additional information, but they use a layman's terms to give an idea. There is one project on in Caldwell on FM 2720. It shows widened non-freeway. I was kind of curious about that, and so I looked it up, and it's actually saying it's adding lanes and in the layman's term, adding lanes and shoulders. But I was wondering, are they really adding lanes? Because if they are, that project is not in the long-range plan. They may be adding a turn lane, continuous turn lane, but maybe there's some clarification that could be done on that particular project. There's two projects are, I guess, adjacent to each other.
Mm-hmm. And these projects are actually going to be in the next item too, because we are amending those into the TIP, which will also amend those into the RTP as well. So I'll talk a little bit about those. I don't have a lot more information, but I'll definitely talk about that project in the next item. So. Yeah.
So I guess I think depending on who's the audience for this 10-year document, even the policy board members may benefit by looking at TxDOT's layman's definitions. They'll provide some clarity on some of those projects that just kind of like, you know, what does this really mean? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for that, Ed. All right, anybody else? All right, again, this is certainly just looking for recommendation to move this on to policy boards. I'll take a motion.
This is Tom Godala. I'll move to recommend approval to the policy board.
Ed Collins, second.
All right, got a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Thank you.
All right, we'll move into the information phase here. Item number 4, discussion on amendments for the Transportation Improvement Program and Regional Transportation Plan. Again, right.
Thank you. you. So this is just a quick update. We are going out for our fall amendment cycle. Again, this is just a regularly scheduled opportunity that most of y'all are fairly familiar with, where we just go out for public comment and outreach on substantial changes to the Transportation Improvement Program and Regional Transportation Plan. So we have received some amendments. The schedule here kind of kicks off today as an information item, and then we're going to be going out for public comment starting on the day of the board meeting next week on Monday, so that's the 3rd. And then we'll be taking public comment all the way through November 3rd. And then we're going to do a public hearing also at the policy board meeting on these amendments. We will be bringing it back to this body on the 17th for recommendation, and then back to the policy board for potential adoption on the 14th. So on the next slide, I'll talk about just the regular amendments that we have. So the biggest one probably is Cap Metro did receive a federal discretionary grant for their demand response operations facility. This is a $76 million project, and so they submitted that to be included in the individual listings of the 2023 Transportation Improvement Program. We do have a couple of rollover projects, which is FM 973 and SH 95. They've been included in previous tips and going to be rolled over. And then to the project that you mentioned, Ed, we've got the FM 2720 projects. These are two combined projects. There's a little bit more detail there, but that's really kind of related to an economic development deal in Caldwell County. It did receive a commitment of funding from the Transportation Commission, Category 12 funding, in the latest round of the UTP, and this is slated to go to construction in 2025, contingent on the economic development deal. So it is committed funding. It's moving fairly quickly, so I don't have a lot of detail other than I would defer to TxDOT on any detailed questions on that, but we are going to include that as an individual listing. So pretty straightforward. We have all TIP amendments. These will be reflected in the Regional Transportation Plan once they're approved, so that they're consistent with each other. We did have a few other requests that we're still processing that will be processed in the next spring amendment cycle once we get information on those. But right now, these are the ones we have available. And I always do want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that if you have an amendment request, our online application is on the website 24/7, all year long. So you don't need to wait on an amendment cycle to submit, because oftentimes we can process an amendment pretty quickly administratively. I'd say most of the changes we make are administrative that ASHRAE can sign off on. So if you have a change to any project listing, please submit. We can get it and we'll process it as quickly as possible. Again, the regular amendments are the more substantial ones, and so these are the ones that we've got now, and then we'll have some more in the spring. But just want to remind everyone about that opportunity. You can apply at any time. So we'll be bringing this back next month, but if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Thank you.
All right, Ed, you still got your hand up. Is that from your previous comment?
Yes, sorry to lower my hand.
No worries. I tried to do it, couldn't get to it. All right, any questions or comments on this item?
Before we move on, this is Joyce Myers. I just wanted to mention that we have the material ready. And so even though it's a week prior to that official comment period opening, we've gone ahead and posted everything on the website, on the campotexas.org website. There's a banner on the home page that people can access the online open house. And then we'll be having 2 in-person open houses this time around. So all of that information is already on the website. We're finishing up the Spanish translations so that that information will be available in Spanish as well.
Joyce, do you know generally where the open houses will be?
Yes, we'll have one open house prior to the policy board meeting next Monday, the 2nd, at the Junior League facility where the policy board meets. And then the second meeting will be in Caldwell County in Lockhart at the Lockhart Public Library. That's there in downtown Lockhart on October 6th. And that meeting will be 4 to 7 p.m. The meeting at the Junior League facility prior to the board meeting will be from 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m.
Thank you for that update. Any questions or comments? All right, we're moving along pretty good. Item number 5, update on segment prioritization efforts. Chad.
All right, thank you. So this is an update on our project readiness, our regional corridor studies program. At the last TAC meeting, of course, we we mentioned that we'd received some feedback requesting to have more in-depth look at this prioritization efforts with a subcommittee, and we've since had the first meeting of that subcommittee. And so I will turn it over to Eric from our GEC team to provide the update on that.
All right, thanks, Chad. Yeah, so we held the first meeting with the subcommittee on September 19th. Some good productive discussion centered around the process for identifying segments to start studying. The most noteworthy feedback that we got was to consider planning judgment more so than the data and scoring. We also received feedback that a right-of-way preservation should be a major focus of the program. At that meeting, TxDOT committed to funding studies for FM 734 from 1431 to MOPAC, 973 from 290 to FM 1660, and they'll also be studying 290 as part of a previous commitment. Williamson County also committed to funding a study for 973 within their county limits. So what those two items does is what that does, it really frees up CAMPO funds to be utilized on other segments and studies. Next slide, please. So next steps, getting ready to send out a few items to the subcommittee members that were requested during the workshop. Those items will be reviewed by the subcommittee, and then they will reconvene and determine appropriate next steps for corridor development. So with that, let's open up to any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the consultants or CAMPO staff? Mr. Collins.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the today's presentation could be sent out to everybody. You know, keeps it's good to be able to share the information with other people in our organizations.
The presentation will be posted to the meeting agendas webpage on the campus site as soon as the meeting adjourns.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, comments? Y'all are making this too easy. All right, we'll move on. Item number 6, report on planning efforts.
Mr. Earl?
Sure. Just wanted to mention that our grant application for the Safe Streets for All discretionary grant program for a region-wide safety action plan was submitted ahead of the September 15th deadline. I just want to thank folks, many of whom are on the line, that participated in the joint applicant working group meeting, as well as people who expressed interest in being partners in the process. Thank you very much for all your efforts, and we hope to hear back something good from USDOT either late this year or early next.
Hey, this is Ryan Collins. I just wanted to mention, if you haven't heard yet, for anybody that's outside the urbanized area, that TxDOT is opening up their TAFA call for projects in October. So if you're not aware of that, I just want to let everyone know. So they put a lot of information online. So if you need a link to that or anything like that, let me know. I can certainly pass the information along. But just wanted to make sure everyone was aware. So these are for transportation, non-roadway projects that are outside of the urbanized area. So if you have any, it'd be a good time to submit. So I just wanted to pass that along. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Gary, hey, this is Tom from Cedar Park. I have a question. That's right. For the application that went out, what was finally used for the local share? Ashby, I know you presented something to the board, but I'm just curious, what was it? Was it in-kind services?
Hi, Tom. Yeah, the board approved using in-kind services. So what we're going to do there, if we're selected for a grant, is we will use the portion of the CAMPO Corridors program that is devoted to safety activities as the match. So we're doing that rather than trying to gather and calculate everybody's time across the region, because that's a lot of work to do, and it's easier for us just to track it through the consultant once. So that, and then the other thing Chair Long said was to look at safety work that the local governments were in the process of doing now, and we could document that as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Ashby.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else on item number 6? All right, we'll move to
That's all we got here.
it's your show, so thank you. Item number 7, chair announcement. So the next policy board meeting will be October 3rd at 2 p.m. The next TAC meeting is scheduled for October 17th at 2 p.m. Are there any other questions, comments, contributions to today's meeting? Don't anybody tell Lori that I had you out of here inside of 30 minutes or she'll never take over again. So thank you.
That's funny.
All right, that's good. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being efficient. We are adjourned.
Thank you.